All right, so how well does a repop trunk deck fit on a 1969 GTO? Stay tuned and find out. Hey, welcome back to the Vinyl Village Garage. My name is John. That's the judge or to be judged or judgmental, whatever. I love all the names. I'm not sure if I can ever pick one because actually it's been quite fun trying to name this car. But nonetheless, last go around, we welded in that seam. I learned a lot. I'm actually a little happy with that now that I've talked to quite a few people who have done this repair. Seems to be the more popular one. I know, we'll get some naysayers on that, but overall, I think it's going to work out just great. Of course, if this is your first time you watched that video last time around, I'll tell you what, it's one of the best videos I've ever put out as for reviews, so mind blown on the YouTubes. I haven't figured it out yet, but anyway, thank you for tuning into that. This go around, I'm going to hit the deck. The trunk deck, that is. I'm not going to hit the floor. It's too cold. The trunk deck, I finally got the repop one. How does it compare to that one? That's what we're going to get into here today. The way to get this video started by doing just an unboxing video because everybody loves those. Well, I don't know. Now this box looks like it got ran over by a dump truck or two, so I'm sure that trunk deck is in phenomenal shape. But I guess we'll find out here. So anyway, wrap your conventional bubble wrap. That's heavy. That's a good sign. Okay. Now, it appears we've got some nice corner guards on, which that's a plus. And that corner's bent. That's great. That one survived. And looks like the other corner guards are in the box. Got a little damage right here. That's not cool. And this is what I'd be talking about right there. That corner, not supposed to be radius. That should be, nice and flat here. Now, that doesn't mean that it's probably worth trying to send it back and then roll the dice to actually send me another one. Pretty sure a little hammer and a dolly work will be able to work that corner out. So I don't think it's the end of the world, but a little disappointing. But considering how bad that box looks, pretty minimal damage. And if I sight the rest of this trunk deck, though, you can see that reflection in the EDP. I could probably wipe all the dust off this, but that's straight. I'm actually really kind of impressed with how straight that actually is. The gauge feels pretty heavy. It felt pretty heavy pulling it out of the box. Inner structure actually looks like a pretty decent fold there on that. It's got the little pedestals here for the chrome trim that goes on the back. And here's something else that I paid attention to. Now, if you have a GTO judge, you'll know what these holes are for, is for mounting the spoiler to the trunk deck. So the inner structure is set up for access to get to the hardware. So this is a separate option. If you're going to order a trunk deck for a 69 GTO or Le Mans, and you need those holes, make sure you designate that your car had a factory spoiler. So before I go through all the trouble of test fitness, I want to hammer this corner back into shape. So we're going to get the hammer and the dolly. This isn't your kids' toys, but this is the dolly. We're going to work this thing back. Now I'm going to put the dolly lined up about where that crease is at. Got a little crease right there. I'm going to try to get that corner to bend back. Hopefully it moves. Now evidently they must have dropped that from a second story building. So I need a bigger hammer. The good news is that's some pretty heavy metal. I like that. It's starting to move. Still not wanting to go though here. There we go. A little harder hit. That was bent, that double, I guess the inner frame just a little bit. So being stubborn, but starting to move. Come back and fine tune with a lighter hammer. This edge is looking good, but this edge here still rolls some. So I think it looks more gooder. We'll go ahead and now remove the old trunk deck in order to test fit this new one. So before I remove the old one, in case you haven't seen this car yet, we'll do a little before here footage. Now, this gap here, kind of hard to gauge, but it is nice and even, straight to back. It looks really nice all the way down to the back edge of the trunk. Lines up good with the quarter panel. My gap up here, same thing, it looks really nice. This side here is great. So I get about midway, and the gap gets a little wider. As you can see it there. That's the problem with this quarter panel. And as I've been doing some more and more checking on it, it was installed wrong. This actually, for some reason, this corner is way lower than it needs to be, which then causes this whole quarter panel to kind of roll like that. One of the clues is actually where the height of this is actually welded onto the side here is about a 1/4 inch lower than it is on the other side before I cut it apart. So, I'm not sure. That's a factory flaw with the panel alignment. I'm not sure if I want to doctor it up or fix it. So that is our before, and then we'll check out how that one looks the after. Well, I figure since I have the opportunity to do a little side-by-side comparison, repop versus original, right? Looking at them, all the holes, these larger holes in the trunk deck are all there and in the same location. That looks pretty good. The webbing or the inner bracing looks identical. The little holes that go across the back here, like this hole, this hole, this hole, are also on that one. The mounting tabs for that chrome trim we kind of briefly discussed. These little things here, they're on that one, but in a lot better shape on our new one. As you can tell here, someone was trying to sculpt this out of maybe fiberglass or all metal. Now this trunk deck isn't 100% trash. It's probably salvageable if someone wants to spend the time on it. I'm just not going to be that guy this go around. I'm going to put this new one on, unless it fits horribly, then maybe I'll go back to the drawing board. But the other thing I might do, there's just that number. Really like to keep those numbers on it. I may cut that out and graft it into this one here, just so it kind of looks more original, so to speak. And then if all things work out fine, this one works like I want them to. If somebody wants this bad boy, I know some people have mentioned this, expressed some interest, but if you're in the Indianapolis area, I will make you a great price, free. Come and get it kind of thing, or work out some kind of deal. So nonetheless, I'm going to flip this thing over. Side-by-side comparison, super happy with the punch out here. Actually, they got a lot of the details right. So all in all, that looks great. I'm hoping it looks just as nice on the car. Yeah. Now this isn't nearly as cumbersome as putting a hood on by yourself. Anywhere near. Now hopefully these aren't threaded in some kind of metric thread now I think about it. Nope. That goes in okay. That's fine. That's fine. Now at this point, I'm just going to get the bolts started. Now I've got the bolts just run down by hand, so basically snug. That way when I can shut this, I can pull this thing, hopefully, move it around. So far, at a quick glance, looking pretty good, almost the same as the original. Might be a little low here in the center, but I got a fix for that. Well, that's all it took. A couple little bumps on the corners here and really dialing in. Now it appears this corner here is a little bit bent and from shipping also. Now I can really see it when I shut the trunk, I'll show you here. But same thing, a couple little hits with the hammer, probably bring it right back into shape. Looking at it here, I catch the light just right. You can see a little crease right there. My first glance, I pulled it out of the box, I didn't really see it. But let's just say if it wasn't shiny and EDP wasn't all that great, check out this here. When I shut the trunk, you can see this corner here is kicked in a fair amount. So same thing, a little hammer and dolly work will bend that corner back. But first impressions, I only got the bolts hand tight. My gap on this side looks just like the original trunk deck. I like it. Here in the front, same thing, looks pretty good. Now it gets a little too low here. If you look with the trunk shut at height, my deck filler panel versus the trunk deck, yeah, that's no bueno. That is way too low. That's okay, I got a fix for that too. This side looks about like it did, a little tight, so I might need to shift the whole thing to the driver's side. But our gap gets wider here, just as it did with the factory one, then closes back up. That's due to this quarter panel, it has a little bit of a roll to it. So I wanna give that a couple little hits with the hammer, see if we get it look a little more good, or shift this way and snug up these bolts. All right, just a couple little whack-a-doos with the hammer here. Well, I didn't take much at all. A little more, just a little bit more on the corner here. And we call that within specification. All right, that looks just like this now. When I shut that trunk deck, those points are looking a whole lot more gooder. Now, this little issue here, where the trunk deck sits significantly lower, it could even be on the sides, not just the leading edge up here, on the sides. You want to bring that back up. I like using, this teardrop sander, which is hardened like a brick. Mine's really, really old. I don't think I ever used it for its designated purpose. Or even those hard rubber sanding blocks, or even a dowel rod, a piece of like wood dowel rod, 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch diameter. Literally, what we're gonna do, I'll show you what this looks like here before. You kind of saw it, but we get the height right. You can see that there, the trunk deck is physically lower than that rear filler panel. Literally, take this guy here, put it in the trunk jam, and we're gonna keep moving it side to side. So we're gonna work it just a little bit at a time, but shut the trunk. And it'll actually get wedged in the opening. We can work on folding that thing up. We'll do this again, move it over. I'm not putting a whole lot of force on here, just kind of trying to shut it. It's gonna kind of curl that front edge up a little bit. You keep working it, find all your low spots. After this time here, we'll check it, see how we're looking. Let's see if that looks any better as I drop that thing there. Okay, now. Let's cut it down to about half. Now out here on the end, now look at this. On the end's looking better, and a little low there. So we need to bring it up from about midway over here. So we'll keep on doing it. Put it there again. I have to get a stiffer block, but we'll see how this goes. We'll do it here. And what's happening is, as I'm pushing down this, it's gonna curl that front edge of that trunk deck up. At least that's the hopes. Let's check that again. Well, that's looking a whole lot better now. Maybe a little high here. That's no big deal. Smack it back down, but I think, much, much better. So now you see how to do that. Pretty quick and simple adjustment. All right, so final test fit. I have, 5 minutes into adjusting the sheet metal. Look at the gap across the leading edge there now. That looks really nice. That was pretty simple. Now, the corners are a little damaged from shipping. If I wouldn't have damaged it, this would be even nicer. I would like to think it fit even better. It would have had to bend. It goes 3 out of the 4 corners I had to manipulate. This one survived. Yay, one survived. But all in all, this thing is really, really, really flat. I got this from, actually, I don't even remember. I always play the game, who's got the cheapest shipping today, and who doesn't like little bubble wrap action. Okay, we got this guy here from Jegs. It says with spoiler holes. So if you need the one for the Judge, get the one with spoiler holes. Or if you want to add a spoiler to it, get the one with holes. But all in all, I'm almost going to give this an A or A+. If it didn't get bent in shipping, I really, really like this. The fit is great. The gauge feels nice. The finish is good. It lines up like it's supposed to. I love it. The thing I got to do now is drill some daggum holes for the GTO badge, some holes here for the spoiler, and this thing will be ready to rock. Now, of course, we're going to use my favorite method, the measuring tape right here. This stuff is fantastic for making a template. So I'll make out like the corner here is the trunk deck. That's obviously a repeatable angle here. So I can take a piece of tape, do the corner, and lay another piece of tape, mark out my holes, maybe do one at an angle, and then go transfer this tape template over there to the new trunk deck and drill my holes out. It's going to be really just that simple. That's what I'm going to do. And I also learned something else. I actually know how to do CAD. I didn't know that. All these years of playing with this stuff here, I actually know how to do CAD. Cardboard aided designing. You use this stuff here to make templates. That's CAD. I didn't know that. Someone learned that the other day. So I have another skill that I didn't know that I had that I should probably share with you. But either way, we're going to go ahead and get the old tape template rocking out here, and we get these holes drilled in that trunk there. Now, as simple as that, I didn't show you putting some tape on that. It's pretty self-explanatory. This is going to be an alignment angle here, alignment edge there. So when I take and I'll drill out the paper here to the same size hole, so it almost, I won't say it's idiot-proof because that might offend someone. Pretty foolproof though. Now what I'll do now, let me peel this off like a sticker, and we'll go put it on our new trunk deck over there. And then I'll have a great place to reference where that thing goes. Now, if I was going to do multiple GTOs, or let's say it was a Firebird 400 trunk deck that was original, I would probably make a CAD or cardboard assisted, I guess, a diagram here, and we would use that over and over and over and over. Cardboard assisted design. Golly, I'm not very good at CAD. But here we go. See if I can get this with one hand with the drill, one hand with the tape, one hand with the camera. Yeah, all right, cool. Simple as that. Now we'll line up our edge here, line up our edge there, and that there is where we punch our holes. Now we're at the point of no return. I'm gonna put some holes in my brand new sheet metal. Now, if I had a new GTO badge, it'd be a perfect time to, would say, test fit that, but I don't. Don't even actually have the old one either. There we go. Fantastic. Perfect. Now, the process holds the same for putting these spoiler mounting holes here on the old trunk deck. I'm going to use the old tape template, then probably verify it with a little bit of tape measuring action. You read those little numbers on that tape measure. I might have to draw some pictures. All right, so I guess I'll show you. Put a piece here, marked on the tape, the back, or I guess the trailing edge of the trunk deck ends up being like 1/8 and 1/4 and 12 and 1/8 the center line of the hole. Side to side, same thing. Put a black mark on my tape, and it basically peeled off the sticker tape template, slapped right onto here. I'm ready to punch 4 holes, just that easy. Now, because these holes are larger diameter, I'm going to go with my step bit. It's the 3rd step in, so I'm going to stop at, and that should match the same diameter as the original one. So not a regular drill bit. Doesn't make much cleaner and keep the hole nice and round. All right, so how's that look? Let's find out. I'm going to grab the spoiler. Now, keep in mind, my pedestal one is actually missing the stud, and it's actually very broken. But I still think for test fitting purposes, I think we'll do okay. Oh, that's just fine. Yep. I say we got a winner. One right on place. Okay, so in conclusion, that trunk deck worth every single dollar of the money that I spent on it. Because in this world here, time is money still too, so not necessarily money out of your pocket, but your time. Where do you spend it at, right? Well, that trunk deck back there, I could have had it dip, I think about $250. That would take care of the rust, because that rust on that trunk deck surface is very rusted and slightly pitted. So to trust that it's going to hold a good finish without lots of hours of work or investing money, I wasn't feeling real warm and fuzzy. So I was going to attempt one of these repop ones. So instead of fixing that one, which, mind you, it could be repaired, strip the rust on the top, rebuild the inner structure, and you would have one. But I'd rather spend my time doing some other things and getting this car further along to the finish line. So in this case here, I think money well spent on this trunk deck. Super happy with it. So to answer the question I asked at the very beginning, was it worth it? Absolutely this time around. I've only had one other trunk deck though. It was for, I think, the Great Pumpkin project. That thing fit great, which is rare on an F-body car. Normally the corner radiuses in the corner of the trunk where it meets up are awful. That one right on, no mods. Kind of like this here. If it wasn't for the bent corners, I would have been probably hitting a home run. It only took probably 2 minutes of reworking that leading edge ever so slightly with a rubber block and pushing on the trunk deck. You can't get much easier than that. So all in all, loving it, like it. Gonna work on moving further forward here on the project. Trunk deck is done, spoilers mounted, GTO badge holders are in place. So we're gonna get into next go around. As long as I'm still here in the Vinyl Village garage, I bought these here, fender patches for the front fenders. These look pretty nice. They came as a kit. Came with the inner structure and outer left end, right about $100. Not bad, except for they welded on the inner brace. See the spot welds? Look at that, it's on there. Well, who would weld that on? I'll leave the bare steel, so I'm gonna have to drill those out and separate that. And not to mention, I'm not gonna use the entire patch. This isn't quite the same gauge steel as factory, and I'm not 100% convinced it's perfect, but these are definitely gonna make it really easy to patch up these front fenders. So I'll probably do some videos maybe on that too, as long as they're still happening here and we haven't moved to the new location. And mind you, the new location is kind of like this car here, a hot mess. Got to do some work. They didn't have a garage yet, so what am I thinking? Well, what I'm thinking is I got a lot more space, keep doing more cars, keep all of my toys in one location. I've got cars all over the place. I'd love to have them underneath one roof here. That was the goal of this here move, so that was a little bit of personal information I was sharing. No, no matter all of you, but maybe you want to know what's going on. And other things happening here. Some very, very, very sad news. It appears we've lost one of our cast members called the Live Wire Orange Mountain Dew. Can't find it anywhere. There's rumors that Pepsi has discontinued it. So if anyone out there has any leverage with the Mountain Dew company, tell them to fix that problem and bring back my Orange Mountain Dew, please. I'm asking nicely. Anyway, nonetheless, I'm going to grab the camera, whatever I get back out here doing. Maybe we do an update on the new property if that's what I'm doing. I'll definitely keep in touch, keep things heading your direction. And I definitely really, really appreciate you all following me on the journey of these cars, playing at home, making it happen with what little tools and space we got. Doesn't mean you can't get good results. You just got to spend a little time, use some creativity like CAD and tape templates. It works out just great. So nonetheless, appreciate you following me, and we'll catch you all next time.